Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Chicago, Illinois is Conor Cunneen, a keynote business speaker, motivational award-winning humorist. So Conor, what are some tips for ensuring humor is appropriate and doesn't offend the audience?
That is a very interesting question, Tom. The last thing you want to do is to offend your audience. So it's really important that you have a good idea of who is in the audience, what their mindset is, what their background is, etc. And if you misread the audience and don't appreciate who's in the audience, what their sensitivities are, you're going to end up in trouble. The basic idea behind adding humor to your presentation or to a sales pitch, Tom, is that we've got neurotransmitters in our brain. When we laugh or we get someone laughing, the neurotransmitters kick in, serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals pop in, make you feel better or make the other people feel better, and you're going to connect better with them. And if you say something offensive, well, you're not going to connect better with them.
But then you do bring humor to your speeches, your presentations. And obviously, how do you work that? I'm sure when someone invites you, when you're hired to be the keynote speaker, you probably get a brief of some sort that they sort of want you to talk about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the key things as a keynote speaker is to understand what your event planners or the person who's bringing you in, what they want you to achieve. So you got to get a good understanding of their requirements, their objectives, etc. And then once I've got an idea of how that works, I will do some research. So, for instance, I actually posted this on TikTok last week, Tom. I was doing a presentation last week down to Dallas Oncology Nurses Society. Now, Dallas is in mourning at the moment because Dallas Cowboys,
right,
the American football team, were beaten by the Packers just a week beforehand. So I start off my presentation to the Dallas Nurses Society saying it's important that a keynote speaker connects well with the audience. And I know you're big into football and that you're in despair at the moment about Dallas Cowboys losing. I want you to know that I'm a big Packers fan. Yay! So they booed me and they hissed me, obviously in good humor kind of thing. And then we went on from there. But that happened because I just figured out some little thing about the audience that I could relate to my presentation, and just understanding something current affairs. Look at a client's website. Is there something there that you might be able to either compliment them on or just take a bit of humor out of it?
Well, I can see doing something like that makes, from the audience side. And in a corporate environment, generally when you're part of a corporate event, they tend to be heavy. Let's put it that way. So if you can lighten them up from the beginning, I think it helps people even listen better for the rest of the conference or the show or whatever it is.
That is so true. And I think what people forget, Tom, is that everyone is human. So even if you're speaking to the group of IRS people, hopefully it isn't because they phoned you and said, Conor, I want your taxes. But if you're speaking to a group of IRS people who you think are very formal, etc., they're just the same as your neighbor. They're the same as your spouse or friend or something like that, but they're just in a different environment. And they have the same needs, the same desires, etc., and they want to laugh as well. And especially if you're in an environment where there's high stress, if you can get an opportunity to make that audience laugh, they really kind of explode.
Well, I can see too, I'm looking at your site right now, and I see you are, but you say you are, and it's not only because you say you are the Irishmanspeaks. So you bring your heritage a little bit in everything, and it shows here that you're improving people, performance, and productivity with a smile. So that's pretty corporate.
Right. It is, and every organization wants to improve their people, Tom. They want to improve their productivity and their performance. And if I can go in and do it with a smile by telling some good stories, providing good research, but also pop in some humorous content from time to time, it can make a real difference to that audience and how they react to you. And I think we all can appreciate that the most basic form of communication babies is a good example, is a smile.
It's a smile. And sometimes a hearty laugh.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
I also see here, that's it. You want to leave the audience and clients with a smile on the face, spring in the step, and memorable, actionable takeaways. So you want to have them take away and do something.
Absolutely, because I'm coming in to make a difference to that organization. And if at the end of the session, they don't have any specific things to do or specific ways to think, then I haven't done a good job. So what I try to do is, as I say, leave them with a smile in the face, a spring in the step, and memorable, actionable takeaways. And I provide some mental triggers as well to help them with those takeaways. I don't normally, Tom, use slides. I kind of try to paint pictures in their mind. But one piece of advice I would give your listeners is that if they want to add humor to their presentation and you're doing PowerPoint or you're using slides, well, God help you for the start. But you can really add humor to that slide presentation by just, let's say you've got a 35 slide presentation, which is a lot. And some people have a lot more than that with a lot of words. But if in every 5 or 6 slides, you pop in one humorous slide that is relevant, you can kind of make then a comment about it and then continue to the next one. Because if you can get your audience smiling or laughing every couple of minutes during your presentation, they're going to stay connected, they're going to appreciate your message better, and they're going to say, hey, he or she was a good presenter and they were also funny and it made me think.
Again, just looking at your site and seeing even your LinkedIn profile, you look like someone who's having a good time. And you look like someone that you would like to be with to hear about that good time.
Right. Well, people say prior to presentations, Tom, to me, said, I'm really looking forward to your presentation. And I said to them, that'll change as soon as I start.
But I'm sure you deliver. So, Conor, how can our audience find you?
Right. The brand is Irishmanspeaks, all one word, Irishmanspeaks. My website is Irishmanspeaks. I'm on Twitter, on TikTok, and on Facebook, basically as Irishmanspeaks. It's Conor Cunneen. Conor is spelled with one N, Tom. As I tell people, my parents couldn't afford 2 N's back in Ireland when they were spelling Conor. But it's Conor Cunneen, Irishmanspeaks.
Very good. So thanks for being here and keep smiling.
It's a pleasure, Tom. Keep up the great work. Cheers.
We will. And again, for our audience, it's Conor Cunneen, Conor, and the last name is Cunneen, Cunneen. You find him on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Irishmanspeaks.com. Irishmanspeaks.com. Café Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at their site, focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.